Okay, so today I want to talk about model releases and who signs them, who doesn't sign them, and why you need to have them. And it's a huge mythical topic when it comes to photography. So huge that you could write a book on it. And actually, famed intellectual properties attorney Ed Greenberg and famed commercial photographer Jack Rysnicki did exactly that. They wrote this book called The Copyright Zone, and it's an amazing book. And of all my photography books, and yes, I consider this to be a photography book, this is probably my most favorite photography book of all time. I have a lot of photography books that talk about technique and editing and everything, and this sits right on my little library shelf with the rest of them. And actually, I've went back and read it like maybe 3 different times over the years, just to go back and brush up on things. So, with that said, also in the back of this book, you're going to get some copies of model releases. So again, I'll put a link to it down below. You can use those model releases, just take them out and put your business name right on there. My current releases that I use today came from this book, and I tweaked them a little bit. I had my attorney, who's not an intellectual properties attorney, but she's a regular attorney. I had her just kind of look at it, and because the changes I made were kind of like just little formalities here and there, but she looked at it, she gave it an approval. If you're going to write a model release yourself, you really need to get an attorney to just kind of look at it and give you some approval on it. So now, with that said, this book is like got all the information you need for copyright, registration, and model releases, all put together into one, almost like a Bible. The stories that are in this book will just literally shake you to the core when it comes to, if you put them up against the myths. You hear these myths of everything, every photographer has got their opinion on it. Some people don't use model releases. They don't think they need them. In my opinion, I know you need them. There's two things you need in photography. More than knowing how to shoot and having a good camera, all that kind of stuff, there's two things you need. You need insurance if you're going to be in business, and you need to know how to protect your images once you've created them. Okay, so with that said, who signs a release and who doesn't sign a release? Okay, so I don't make paying clients that come to my studio sign a release. Okay, people are coming for family portraits, that kind of stuff, senior portraits. I don't make those paying clients sign a model release. Now, if I think that I'm going to use an image for promotion in any way, shape, or form, I ask if they would sign a model release. If it's if I'm doing something like, say, for a wedding, and I think that I'm going to use that as promotion in the future, I will ask the bride and groom, would you sign model releases? Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Okay, and there's no problem with that. But now when it comes to working with models, flat out, hands down, every model knows before they even come to the shoot, I let them know that they are going to be asked to sign a model release. And that's part of it. The shoot doesn't take place unless they shoot or unless they sign a model release. And let me just show you how I have my releases here. So I have, these are actually, I'm kind of a little ill prepared here. Forgive me for that. These are printed up in this, now this says 2015. This is an old one. I write the year on them and I kind of save them as the years go by. But actually, if I get enough of them, I tear them out of the book like this. I tear them out, and this is my copy. So they're two-part. They're the old style carbon. I can't show you the first one because it has somebody's name and information on it. But they're two-part. It's a white and a yellow carbon copy. You just flip it up, you put this under there so you don't write on the next one below it, and you're ready to go. And essentially I have on here, model's name, signature, her address, email address, just all the information like that. If I'm shooting any type of nudes, I require an ID, like driver's license number, that type of thing. And I also have a place on here for parent or guardian to sign if they're underage. And I also have on here for a witness, and I even sign it myself. That was one of the changes that I made to the release that was in the book. I also spell stuff out in detail, like when it comes to the date, I actually write the day, the date, the day, the month, the day of the month, and then the year. When I say the day, I mean like I write out Sunday, April, whatever, 2017. I spell it out, and I tell the model essentially that the reason you're signing this is you're protecting it. The release is protecting me, and it's protecting you, and it's protecting both of us. And I let them read it. You know, obviously they're allowed to read it before they sign it, and essentially it just it's them giving me permission to shoot or capture their image, and I also put in their video, so it's still photography and video. This covers any behind the scenes video that I might take that day, covers everything. It's allowing me to capture, edit, and use that image to post online or something like that. So now, if it was going to be an actual paid commercial shoot, I have a little bit different wording. I actually have probably 4 or 5 different model releases. You know, I have ones for property, I have ones that are for just, you know, going out and doing a model shoot, and then I have commercial ones, different things like that. Now, here's one thing to note. I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but I have a watermark in this. I don't know if you can get that on there or not, but I have a watermark put into my page. It's my, you know, logo essentially, and I have it right where all the signatures and the information from the model goes. It just makes it a little harder to kind of, you know, mess with that and change things around. And when it comes to that, let's touch on this topic, and the topic is, well, I have an app in my iPad that I can use, and I have, you know, it'll work in my phone, in my Android phone. Apps are fine. Ed tells a perfect story, and I'm going to paraphrase this story, but this kind of just turns that app into a myth when it comes to how a model release will hold up in court. Okay, so the story is, the photographer is asked, you know, I bet you're a very good photographer and you're probably a good Photoshop artist. You know, I bet you could probably Photoshop my head onto the Statue of Liberty. And the photographer says, well, yeah, that would be kind of easy to do in Photoshop. And then the next statement is, I bet you could also change a comma or a period or a word. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, if something is a digital document or a digital file, it's like a photo. I don't care if it's a PDF or what it is. It can be altered. It can easily be altered. A piece of paper like this, it can be altered too, but it is a lot harder to do with watermarks in it, when you got carbon copies. I keep these in my safe, nice and safe, in a fireproof safe. They go in there like once a month. It's all equals up to protecting your images. Okay, so now let's touch on the fact of why you need the model to sign the release. There's many different things, and one of the things that I can think of, now this is between you and the model, one of the things that I can think of is, if you're going to use it for promotion, and what if it's the most awesome image that you've ever taken, and you want to use it on a website, you want to use it to promote your website, something like that. What if 6 months down the road the model doesn't want you to use it, and just for whatever reason she changes her mind and she just like says, I don't want you to use that, or he says, I don't want you to use it, I don't like the way my hair was in that photo, or something like that. Well, you're basing, you've went out and you've done this shoot that you've maybe put a lot of money into, and you went and shot this person, and if you don't have a model release, it's very easy for them to, and legally, to go and say, I want that image taken down. And then that just kind of deflates you, okay? Another reason you need it is you need it to have, it's part of the protection process when it comes to copywriting and registering your images. If you have to go to court for somebody stealing your images, it's the issue can come up as, well, who was the model, and did you have permission to shoot that model that day? And you got your release. So again, the book spells it out a lot better than I can speak it out here. But what I can tell you here is, you need to have your models signing model releases. And it's very easy. You know, the model comes in, first off, every model that comes to my shoot knows before they get to the shoot, I have already asked them in an email, over the phone, or in person, that when we do the shoot, you will be expected to sign a model release that day. And I can show it to them ahead of time. I'm not trying to sneak anything in on them. I have yet to have somebody, a model, come in and say, you know what, I want to do this shoot, but I'm not going to sign a release. I haven't had anybody do that. I let them read the release, and sometimes I even shoot video while they're signing it. I do some like behind the scenes stuff while they're signing it and kind of play it up a little bit that way. I just tell them it's protecting both of us. If somebody should steal this image and use it in a way that we don't want it used, and I always say we, because it's a partnership between you and the model, this photo shoot that you're doing. If somebody steals our image and uses it in a way we don't want it used, we have some form of protection. And also I tell them, you're essentially, by signing this, you're essentially giving me permission to capture your image, edit your image and video for today. And usually nobody has any problem with that. I've shot with teenage models, you know, with their underage. And that's another thing. Never shoot an underage model without a parent or guardian present. I know a lot of people that do that. You're looking at a guy who has never done that. Okay, so always have the parent present, and the parent never leaves the shoot. The parent is always right there the whole time. If there's going out to get coffee, anything like that, I send somebody else out to get it. I try to keep the parent right there on the premises or within the location of the shoot at all times when I'm shooting with an underage model. Everything's on the up and up. If you keep everything on the up and up, you never have a problem with it. Now, I know a lot of guys that, and I say especially guys because it's that guy-girl thing, that, you know, they want to go out and they want to shoot nude models and everything, and that's fine. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you do need to cover your bases, and you never shoot an underage model without having a parent or guardian present at all times. And I'm not talking like, you know, she's 17 and her boyfriend's 19, so he's the, no, it's the parent or guardian. And I spell that out up front before the shoot, before they even come to the shoot, you know, 2 weeks before the shoot. They know if she's underage or he's underage. I've had male underage models bring their mom and or their dad or whoever is their guardian, come and sign the release and stay there with them the whole time we're shooting. So anyway, that's just kind of a synopsis. Check out the book here. I'm going to put it up here one more time. My favorite photography book of all times, The Copyright Zone by Ed Greenberg and Jack Rosnicki. You won't be disappointed, and there's a link down below.